Let's make some butter chicken with a side of garlic naan. First step is to start marinating chicken, so we'll get started now. Alright, to make this nice and quick, I've got everything over to the side, a lid off, and I got 8 pieces of chicken thighs in my bowl, already chopped up to just big chunks. Nice big bite-sized chunks. So first, 2 tablespoons of, I'm using canola oil. If you have vegetable oil, you'll use that. Half a cup of Greek yogurt, 2 teaspoons of crushed ginger. 1 teaspoon. I don't know what I was thinking. You can use ginger powder or fresh ginger. That's just, I just got the jar ginger for now. 1 teaspoon of white pepper. 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder. 1 teaspoon of cardamom. 1 teaspoon of chili ground, hot or mild. 1, it gives it a really nice color, and 2, you don't want butter chicken to be spicy, but it gives just a nice flavor. So I'm going in with 1 teaspoon. You can use less if you want less. Or if you actually do want your butter chicken to be spicy, then definitely add some more. We're going to go with 2 tablespoons of paprika, 1 tablespoon of cumin ground, 1 tablespoon of Brahma masala, which I'm almost out, so I'm just going to use the rest. It's probably a little bit over a tablespoon here, but that's fine. It's just to finish off the jar. I want 1 tablespoon of coriander seed grounded as well. And I almost forgot, but we also want to season it with some salt. So I'm going to use about half a teaspoon of salt. Alright, now you got it all nice in your bowl. I'm just going to be using my hand and get it all nice and mixed up. Alright, when you got it all nice and mixed up like that, I'm going to take some plastic here and I'm just going to set it on top of the chicken itself inside of the bowl, like so, and then I'm going to do another piece over the bowl. Now this is going to go into the fridge for about 4 hours. If you got longer, put it in for longer. I realistically should have, well, 4 hours is fine. It's still going to get tenderized by the Greek yogurt and nice and flavorful, but the longer the better, definitely. I should have done this step last night. I just got too lazy. So, in the fridge for 4 hours. So some garlic naan. We're going to start with making the garlic butter. So I've got 200 grams of butter going in here. I want to get that nice and melted. And we got 4 cloves of garlic. We're just going to mince in. And as soon as all of this butter is melted, I'm going to turn off the heat and take it off and let it calm down and cool down. Alright, next part of making the naan is a dough. So I got half a cup of warm water in here. I don't have any other mixing bowls, they're all currently being used. So I'm just using this dish, but we got 1 teaspoon of yeast, 1 teaspoon of sugar. Just give that a quick mix around and then set that off to the side for about 10 minutes. Alright, 10 minutes is up. The garlic butter, I'm just going to take 1 tablespoon of that and add it in. I'm going to take about 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt and put that in as well. It would have been so much more easier to scoop this out with a spoon, but never mind. Right, that should be plenty. I'm going to do half a teaspoon of salt, and then we want to add in 1 cup of flour. I'm just going to be using the same spatula I just made with the garlic butter. It doesn't really matter, like the garlic, some garlic butter's in here anyhow. And just to get this dough started and get it all combined. And because I was eyeballing my measurements as well, if it's a little bit too dry, I will add in a little bit more yogurt or maybe a teaspoon of water at a time, just a very small amount. And if it's too wet, then I'll just add a bit more flour. I'll do a bit more flour. And you just want to keep adding a little bit at a time. That's if you're eyeballing your measurements like I am. That's looking good. So just put some flour on the surface here. And I just want to knead this in so get it all nice combined and a smooth dough. You definitely want a nice smooth dough. Alright, so now your ball of dough is nice and smooth looking like this. I'm just going to be getting a plate. I'm just going to get a plate just because, like I said, I don't have bowls. They're all getting used, or being used I should say. Could rinse out the dish I was using, but this will just be easier. Anyhow, so a teaspoon of canola oil, or you can use vegetable oil. Just going to roll the dough. I'm just going to loosely cover this with some cling wrap. Set it out in the sunlight on the windowsill for about an hour. Alright, so the butter chicken here has been marinating for quite a while now. I got the oven preheating at 190 degrees Celsius fan force. We are just going to take the chicken. Oh my goodness, it smells amazing. And we just want to pop it singly on this tray. Well, I got 2 trays out and probably would use both trays. So we're just going to pop all the chicken on because we're going to bake it in the oven first and then we'll finish it in the sauce. Alright, so now the trays of chicken's going to go into the oven for about 20-25 minutes. Alright, got my pot on medium heat. I'm going to put in about 50 grams of butter here. I'm just going to get all the last little bits. Tablespoon of canola oil or vegetable oil. I roughly chopped up 1 brown onion as well, which I'm going to chuck in. And I definitely want to melt down this butter and fry off the onion for a couple of minutes before I add in the spices. So yeah, fry off the onion for a couple of minutes and then we'll add in the spices. Alright, so I've got 2 more cloves of garlic minced up. That's going to go into this pot. Half a teaspoon of ginger. 1.5 teaspoons of cumin. 1.5 teaspoons. 1.5 teaspoons of cardamom. And then 1.5 tablespoons of coriander seed. A tablespoon and a half. And we also want 1.5 tablespoons of garam masala, except I ran out. I used the rest of it earlier marinating the chicken. I supposed to buy some when I went to the shop, but I completely forgot and I cannot be buggered. So unfortunately I'm going to leave that out. That's going to have a huge, like the Indian curry flavour to it. But I'm sure this will still be delicious. But I'm just going to fry this in for a couple of minutes and you can really smell, even already now, you can really smell how fragrant all of those spices are. After a couple of minutes I'm going to add in 1 jar. This is 700 grams of passata. I'm going to fill this up about here with water just so I can shake it out and get some more of this sauce out. So just like that of water, pop the lid on, shake it up, and there we go. Alright, so now it's a simmer. I just remembered I have to season it with salt and pepper. So I'm just going to do just a little bit of salt. I can always add more salt, but you've got to remember that there's salt as well already on the chicken. And we still got to add the chicken. Same with pepper. I'll just do some now. I only done about just a pinch. And yes, now it's simmering, so I'm going to add some cream. We want about 1/3 of a cup of cream. Stir this in, and I'm going to turn the heat down to low. Well, not low, but we'll do like a number 2.5. So yeah, medium low medium, however, well, whatever way it goes. Alright, so the chicken is ready. You want to put in all of the juices that the chicken has rendered out of. Because we trimmed it up when I cut it into pieces, it's not overly fatty. And it's just going to have a lot of good flavour. So all of the pieces of chicken and all of these juices can come into the pot. Now we just want to get this all combined. And I'm going to probably wait a good 30 minutes and then I'm going to taste it for seasoning. Alright, I tasted it. I haven't added anything else except it definitely does need garam masala. It just needs it. So I popped out and got some garam masala. We're going to do 1.5 tablespoons. And give that a really good mix in. Alright, so for a side I'm going to be using this packaging of papadums, the garlic. Honestly, I can't taste the difference between the garlic and the normal, but I still always end up buying the garlic. I would love to try and make these myself one day, but if you haven't cooked these yourself, they're very simple. This is just in the Indian section, in the international section in the grocery store, either Woolies or Foodland or anywhere. I just got oil on high heat. You chuck it in, it bubbles up, and it crisps up, just like that. And then I like to turn over, dunk it once, and there we go. So you can see obviously the size difference. And yeah, super quick. Now I want to finish the garlic naan, so I just lightly dusted the surface with flour. And this is raised. And as you can tell, this is definitely risen. I would have preferred it to rise more. It would have if it was actually in a bowl and wasn't restricted with the glad wrap. But that's okay. This will do perfectly fine. Actually, before I'm going to start roll this out, I'm going to put on a pan on high heat. Alright, so alright, and from there I'm just going to slice it in half. And we'll make it so there'll be 6 pieces. And then we roll them into a ball. Well, somewhat of a ball. For one piece. We want to roll it out as thin as we possibly can without it tearing. And it doesn't really matter on the shape unless you do want a specific shape, then obviously go for that. I'm just rolling to try and make it flat. And as you can tell, that's quite thin there. And in my dry pan you can see it's starting to smoke. We're just going to pop that on. And we'll leave it for a minute or two. You just mainly want to wait until there's nice bubbles. You can already see some starting to happen, so it will happen quick. Alright, as you can tell, it's puffed up. Actually, I'll get a spatula. Ooh, I think I've burnt it. Oh no, that's nice. That's a nice char. I wouldn't want to go a second longer, but that is great. Just get that piece out. And then the next side is not going to take as long, so you definitely want to just keep on checking. There we go. Take that off. One thing I did forget to do is I got the garlic butter here. I got about a tablespoon of fresh coriander leaves. I'm just going to roughly rip that in and mix it in. And I only wanted to add this when the butter is completely to room temperature, because you don't really want to cook these leaves. And then now with the pastry brush, and that's just going to soak in so nice. Do both sides. Make sure to get some garlic as well, the chunks of garlic in. Yum. And that's just, yeah, going to soak in. Alright, so dinner is finally all done. We got the butter chicken in here. It's so good. The rice, it did kind of get a little dry on top, but that's fine. What's this called? The naan bread. I wanted to show more in depth on how to make it, but it's just a very fast process and I wasn't really set up to show it properly. So I definitely do want to do a separate video. But just look how good that looks. And they're so, all of them, I don't want to touch it too much, but they're just all so soft. And then the papadums as well, so yum. Alright, so that's everything in the bowl that you can't see because the lighting's just gone terrible, but I don't know why, I just love how the naan looks. And I got papadum inside, I just don't like that in the bowl. So, let's try, oh, it's hot. Piece of chicken and rice. What? I really like that. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, I added, when I tasted it, I added another about 1/4 cup of cream and a tablespoon of sugar. I really like that.
The rice is a bit dry. I think it's just because I don't know, like more earlier. Because I had to do the naan, which actually. So I'll try the naan now. That's what it looks like, just as is. That's pretty damn good. It is the edge piece, which doesn't have as much butter on, but it's fine because I dip it in the sauce anyhow. And my favourite, papadam.
Papadam.
But overall, I'm very happy. The flavour, I'm so glad I did get the garam masala. It just needed it. I feel like you can't make it without it. Well, you could, but it's just, it just needs it. So that is all for today's video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe down below to see my future videos. Sorry again about the bad lighting, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Let's make some butter chicken. Stop bumping it, girl.
You can't keep smooching the tripod. You make it so wobbly. Yeah, baby girl.